Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hindsight News. I'm Sean, and let's get started with today's story. Our top story this week is there has been a victory for the Standing Rock Sioux in the Dakota Access Pipeline case. A federal judge has made a ruling in the case which may force the shutdown of the $3.8 billion Dakota Access Pipeline. Judge James Boasberg ruled Wednesday that the Trump administration failed to conduct an adequate environmental review of the pipeline. When President Trump ordered the Army Corps to fast-track the project, the judge says that they violated the procedures of the environmental review. They didn't take into account impacts on fishing and hunting rights, as well as environmental justice. The pipeline faced months of massive resistance from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, members of hundreds of other indigenous tribes from across America as well as water protectors from every walk of life that came from all over the country to go stand with the Standing Rock people. Standing Rock Sioux Chair Dave Archambault II and Nick Tilson, the executive director of the Thunder Valley Community Development Corporation, and a citizen of the Lakota Nation on Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Speaking at a rally last week, President Trump said he signed the memo to greenlight the pipeline with his eyes closed. His words were, "I'm pleased to announce that the Dakota Access Pipeline, which I just mentioned, is now officially open for business, a $3.8 billion investment in American infrastructure that was stalled. And nobody thought any politician would have the guts to approve that final leg. And I just closed my eyes and said, do it." Trump added, when I approved it, it's up. It's running. It's beautiful. It's great. Everybody's happy. The sun is still shining. The water is clean. But when I approved it, I thought I'd take a lot of heat. And I took none, actually. None. People respected that I approved it, but I take so much heat for nonsense that it probably overrode. It probably overrode the other way. It's like a decoy. The denial that this man is in is unreal. I understand he's a narcissist, but how are you this out of touch with reality? How do you not know? How do you not know that a majority of the American people were against this pipeline? And how do you know you don't need to protect water? You can't live without water, and you can't drink oil. The greed of people like yourself, President Trump, is disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. I hope this victory for the Standing Rock Sioux leads to a total shutdown of the Dakota Access Pipeline. While they're on the ropes, we should take this opportunity to hound our representatives and hound the media to cover the story and try to put a stop to it and try to help the Standing Rock Sioux put a stop to this pipeline. 5 city officials are being charged for their actions that led to the water crisis in Flint. Governor Snyder, though, yet remains uncharged, even though he is the most responsible for the water crisis in Flint, and his pockets are lined with filthy blood money from poisoning these children and these people in Flint and causing them to have this poisoned brown toxic water. And Governor Rick Snyder needs to be brought to justice as well. It's nice that these 5 city officials are being charged, but Governor Snyder needs his as well. And especially considering the fact that Governor Snyder was largely silent last year when criminal charges were brought against state officials over Flint's man-made drinking water crisis. Now he has come out to defend these 5 city officials who are being charged with manslaughter, to claim that they don't deserve this as unjust, when really this isn't enough. These guys need locked up if they were responsible for this, if they benefited or caused this for personal gain, like Rick Snyder did. They need to go to prison for it. They poisoned people, and so did Rick Snyder. Rick Snyder definitely poisoned people. I don't know for sure how involved these other 5 were, but if charges have been brought, I'm assuming pretty involved, because it's been forever, and since mid-2015, and nothing's been done yet. And Governor Snyder still walks around a free man when he should be rotting in a cage, broke and penniless. So let's hound our representatives and stay on this, but it's good to see a little bit of progress. Let's end that on a positive note. This is good. There has been charges brought. Some accountability is coming to this case, and people haven't given up. You're going to get yours, Rick Snyder. The latest developments in the DNC lawsuit case is that Attorney Jared Beck has asked the judge for protection for all of the DNC's witnesses and counsel. Mr. Beck feels that they have reason to feel that their lives are in jeopardy based on just the simple fact of how many weird deaths have happened around the DNC primaries and the investigations that have followed the DNC primaries, including the WikiLeaks stuff. For example, the DNC process server Sean Lucas had very weird circumstances surrounding his death soon after serving the DNC the papers for the lawsuit. Also, Seth Rich, who would have probably been the key witness for the not the prosecution, but the plaintiff in the DNC lawsuit case, who we all know was shot in a botched robbery and killed soon after at the hospital. So Jared, Mr. Beck has every reason to feel that his life is in danger, and I hope that the judge does the right thing and grants protection to everyone involved in the case here. I know that the Oath Keepers are protecting Mr. Beck, but the courts need to get involved as well. The DNC is a dangerous organization. The establishment in this country has a lot invested in making sure that this case goes away. Well, it's not going to go away. As a matter of fact, the DNC has found itself in a really tough spot because at this point in the case, they've admitted that they rigged the primary. That is admitted back now. There is no longer there's no more ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, all doubt has been laid to rest. The DNC has admitted that they rigged the primary, and they've also said that they basically have the right to do that they don't have to follow their own bylaws. Now, it'll be up to the judge to decide whether or not that matters, that the DNC violated their own bylaws and betrayed their donors. Will he decide that that matters, or will he decide that democracy doesn't matter and that voting is nothing more than theater? So there's a lot resting on this judge's decision. This could be a historical case, and hopefully it is, because there needs to be justice for Seth Rich, and there needs to be justice brought to the DNC. More specifically, the corrupt element that has taken over the DNC. These people need to be brought to justice, and Seth Rich needs justice for his sacrifice. I believe Seth is the WikiLeaks leaker, and there needs to be an investigation into that as well. I think that was a hit to silence Seth. These people are dangerous, and the attorney here is right to ask for protection. The judge should grant it. A fire ravaged Grenfell Towers in London, and as you can see, the entire building was in flames from top to bottom. Grenfell Towers was a 24-story tenement for lower-income people in the city of London. Many people were trapped inside during this fire, and the Metropolitan Police estimate that 58 people are currently missing and presumed dead, including 30 confirmed dead. The BBC reported that the final figure could be around 70. The emergency services received the first report of the fire at 12:05 a.m. and it burned for around 24 hours. For 24 hours, this building was literally in flames completely. Residents of the surrounding buildings were evacuated due to concerns that the tower could collapse, but as you can see, it did not. And I'm only going to touch on this for a second, but steel frame buildings do not collapse due to fire. This building burned for 24 hours. Burned completely, like a torch, as you can see from the pictures. It was horrible. This fire was horrible. This building was completely on fire for a day. It is still standing. You could rebuild it around the frame. The frame is still there. That is why steel is used to make skyscrapers. Steel frame buildings do not collapse due to fire. Residents of the Grenfell Tower area claim that concerns regarding fire safety in the buildings have been ignored since 2014. And recently there had been a coating placed to the building's exterior to improve the look of the structure, but residents claim that this material acted as an accelerant in this fire and actually caused what you're seeing here with this torch-like effect. Many residents feel that this fire was intentional so that these buildings could be destroyed. The surrounding area has become affluent, and these structures are no longer wanted. Hopefully we'll get some answers as to what caused this fire, and some justice can come to these people that lost their lives. In other news, 2 Navy ships collided on Thursday, causing serious damage but no injuries. The USS Denver being resupplied at sea by the USS Yukon about 180 miles west of Hawaii when the incident happened about 6:15 p.m. Hawaii time. Both ships are massively damaged, classified photos show. The Denver has a hole running across the ship, as you can see here, and portions of its anchor have been torn out. The Yukon has compartments that are open to the sea. though they're not taking on water. There were no personnel injuries aboard either ship. Both vessels are still seaworthy, said Navy spokesman Lieutenant Flex Polexico, who has an amazingly cool name. I wish my name was Flex Polexico. The crash happened at the forward end of the ships above the waterline, and neither ship is taking on water. The Denver has damage to its bow or front section, and the Yukon damage to its starboard or right quarter, according to the Navy. Both ships have gashes in their hulls. This isn't the first crash for the Yukon. It was involved in another crash in February when it collided with a much smaller civilian cargo ship while trying to port in Dubai. The Yukon sustained minor damage in that crash. Captain Mark J. Wilson headed the Yukon's crew in both crashes, although a different helmsman was at the wheel during each crash. Tuesday's crash is currently under investigation, Flex Polexico said. The results of the investigation in the February crash have not yet been made public. The rape trial against Bill Cosby ended on Saturday when a deadlocked jury was unable to reach a verdict on the 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault after several days of deliberations. Until and unless the jurors speak, we won't know why they reached this decision. Prosecutors have already said they'll retry Cosby. I think he's guilty. I think this verdict shows again how difficult it is to convict a celebrity of criminal charges. The case boils down to a famous person's word over the word of somebody that no one's ever heard of. You know, these people, they grew up on Bill Cosby, they love him. But that's not the real Bill Cosby. But even though that should matter, apparently it doesn't. Because the word of these women is being ignored. And I believe that a rapist is going free. Hopefully the prosecutors will retry Cosby and are able to get a verdict next time and put this rapist away. Trump's homemade word Covfefe into an actual law. On Monday, Representative Mike Quigley of Illinois introduced the Covfefe Act, an acronym for the Communications Over Various Feeds Electronically for Engagement Act. The bill seeks to add the term social media to Presidential Records Act, which governs the archival records of the presidency, including the preservation and publication of these records. Under Quigley's measure, the president's tweets would become part of the public's presidential record. Quigley adds, in order to maintain public trust in government, elected officials must answer for what they do and say. This includes 140-character tweets, Quigley said. President Trump's frequent, unfiltered use of his personal Twitter account as a means of official communication is unprecedented, he added. The bill's name plays off Mr. Trump's late-night tweet at the end of May, which read, despite the constant negative press, Covfefe. And while it's obvious to me, at least, that he probably meant to write coverage and he passed out and his little fat fingers hit Covfefe, everyone went nuts with this. There's been memes everywhere. There's t-shirts of it. I've seen it everywhere. My 14-year-old son makes jokes about it, and he doesn't follow politics at all. I don't even know how he knows what it is. The Democrats couldn't stand the fact that Trump had made up a word, I guess, so now they're going to try to give it meaning by passing this bill that will somehow allow them to use Trump's tweets against him in the presidential record. I guess forgetting the fact that the tweets are already part of the public record. But whatever. Covfefe bill is now going to be presented in Congress. Your tax dollars at work. You know, God forbid that this Representative Quigley actually take on an actual issue. You know, I'm sure there's something that the people of Illinois need more than this Covfefe Act. They're acting like children. They really need to grow up. But at least they're showing themselves to us so that we know that we can get rid of them and we know who we need to get rid of. So I guess on the other side, their theatrics are good because it shows us who the bullshit artists are. We'll wrap up our news today by reminding everyone that Megyn Kelly will be interviewing Alex Jones tonight on her Sunday night show. Yeah, that's right. that Alex Jones. The t-shirt ripping, hairy chest beating Alex friggin' Jones, the misinformation master. He'll be sitting down with Meghan tonight. And a lot of advertisers are upset about it. A lot of advertisers have pulled their support from the show. Meghan's been fired as a host for a Sandy Hook event. People are outraged that Meghan's going to have this guy on and, treat him like a respected journalist. But, Meghan's side of it is that this is real journalism and this man is being taken seriously. This is the president's favorite journalist. The president listens to Alex Jones. Alex Jones has 5 to 6 million listeners on his InfoWars show. And Meghan thinks it's important to take that seriously. These people listen to him. Of course, now more people are going to listen to him because people that didn't know he existed now will be tuning in to see, what kind of crazy shit this man's going to say. It's like the old Howard Stern appeal. Most people that are listening to him, most people that are tuning into Alex Jones' show just want to see him say goofy shit and act weird. A lot of people do believe him as well. I think President Trump's counted among that group, but for most part, Alex Jones is a clown. He's just a misinformation artist that pumps people up, and alt-right people love to listen to him and stroke their guns with one hand and their tiny wiener with the other. I'm sure Trump included. So NBC will be airing the interview tonight despite the advertisers pulling out, so tune in. I'm sure it will be a literal shit show. But Megyn Kelly is a strong woman, so maybe she'll put Alex in her place. How do you know? She may surprise you. I doubt it, though. Tune in and find out. Maybe she will. Who knows? Maybe Alex is going to come out of this regretting taking this interview, but I'm sure he's going to come out of it with at least another 500,000 to 1 million listeners to his show. So it is what it is. You're not going to stop it anyway. There's going to be misinformation and bullshit artists like Alex Jones, no matter what you do, whether Megyn Kelly interviews him or not. So tune in if you want to watch it. I won't be watching it because I boycotted the mainstream media a very long time ago. But you go ahead and do it if you want to. It'd be nice theater, like a little WWE for intellectuals. Thank you guys again for showing up to the show here. We do this every Sunday, Hindsight News, every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central. I will see you next week with another episode. Click like and share this video. And also subscribe to the channel. We upload 4 shows a week. I'll see you next time. This has been Sean with Hindsight News.